This week.
Written, Mike writes it, and he wrote this about Captain Blood.
You break through the pack, accelerate fast, you reckon you're out in the clear. When just in the corner of your eye comes a sight that you've learned to fear. Coming in fast at 40 knots with a look of savage fire. Captain Blood, the infamous Jack Dyer. You reckon you've copped it sweet. You turn to the left, spin to the right. You reckon you're good on your feet. When way up above you, that awful sight, breathing smoke and fire. Captain Blood, the infamous Jack Dyer.
He says and he gives you some good advice. Make up your mind, you little pipe. Are you a man or are you a mouse? Get off the ground, take your stool back home. I'll grind you into the mud. Says the voice of the pirate, the infamous Captain Blood.
You're a little man. Your name is Lou. Now who is this?
And Jack Dyer will sit. Sorry about that. And Jack Dyer, the passing of a legend, there's no doubt about that. And Bob Davis, another legend of Channel 7 and Australian football, will be in to talk about his good friend who he lost early yesterday afternoon. Let's have a look at the results of this round. Institution. This is a way of life. It changed the culture of Sunday lunch, and you'd be right in this with me. It got families to sit together and watch entertainment when entertainment was absolutely in its best years.
That's absolutely correct, Rex. And not only that, we caused consternation over in Rome because it went to Rome and the Pope had to change the mass times in Victoria because us coming on 11 ruined the high mass all over Victoria and probably all over Australia.
Lynn and I sat next to you at Ted Whitten's funeral. It was a great celebration of a life cut short by a tragic disease. This life of Jack Captain Blood Dyer has run its race. His engine just wore out, and we're celebrating his life. You think the same funeral should be given to Jack Dyer?
Yes, I do. I think that if the powers that be were good enough to look at Ted Whitten, I don't know the criteria for it, but I'm quite sure that Jack fulfills all that's necessary, and it would be, I mean, Australian rules football wouldn't be where it is without Jack Dyer. There's no doubt about it.
Contribution to a society and a way of life.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Bobby, can I just ask you, obviously you're great mates with Jack Dyer. What would be your fondest memory of the great man?
Well, my first and best memory, of course, was that I was fortunate enough to be selected to play for Victoria in 1949. Now, that's a fair way back. And who do you think was captain and coach? Jack Dyer himself. And Leo Turner and I were selected. Leo had been as far as Camperdown. I'd been as far as Clunes.
Leo, father of Michael
Turner, that's right. And, oh, there's the three dummies there on the stage. Good heaven. And anyway, we got in the car, went up to Essendon, and there's Big Jack standing at the, at the base of the plane. Who are you two whippersnappers? And I said, oh, my name's Bob Davis, Mr. Dyer. He said, very good. What are you, Leo Turner, Mr. Dyer? I'll look after you, don't have to worry. Well, from that moment, we were almost, bosom mates. It was fantastic.
He had some of the great sayings.
Oh.
He had some fantastic sayings. He talked about Collingwood. He hated Collingwood so much he wouldn't watch a black and white movie.
And white, that's right. I mean, Jack, when he didn't have to be funny, he was serious. The more serious he was, the funnier he was, Jack. I mean, the best thing now was, I don't know if this, no, we used to do it across the road. And Jack O'Toole was the magnificent Axeman figure. He was world
Axeman,
champion.
ready.
That's right.
One,
That's right.
two.
And the two Jacks, like the two Ronnies, used to get in the green room together and start imbibing fairly early in the day, actually. And unfortunately, Jack O'Toole died. But Ron Casey, in reverence to him, kept his voice, as you just said then. Axeman, to your logs. 1, 2, 3. And Dyer said, after a couple of years, he said, I don't know what's happened to that O'Toole. He never talks to me. He's been dead to you.
Now, Bobby, was he responsible? Bobby, was Jack responsible? I reckon the funniest Jack Dyer story they tell is when Waverley was built, and they said upon completion of Waverley, Jack, what sort of surface do you think we should have? AstroTurf or grass?
Yeah.
And Jack turned around and he said, stuffed if I know. He said, I've never smoked AstroTurf.
I think we've been very lucky to be involved with the game, but also on Thursday nights. And I reckon between you, Bob, and Jack would have called our names, all of us on this panel, to be in the side of the night. It was just
compulsory,
compulsory viewing.
Yeah.
For us.
Well, I must say that I was very lucky to get in because Ron Casey was supposed to be the run in the middle, but unfortunately, well, fortunately, he kept on rising the ladder at Channel 7, and they couldn't have their general manager and then their proper manager and then their CEO sitting in between Lou and Jack. So I was the next one in the line.
Why
so,
couldn't they, Eddie, doesn't he?
well, that's right, yeah, well, they could have, but no. But so I was lucky enough to get the gig, and of course, you know, things just happen forever. And as far as I'm concerned, Jack and Lou, I got hold of their shirt tails and they just dragged me along. It was fantastic.
We've got a game at Telstra Dome today, and Port Adelaide are coming across to play Richmond. It'll be an emotional game, and the Richmond cheer squad have been busy for the last 12 hours just making a beautiful banner that says Heaven's football team can now take the field because your captain has arrived, Jack Dyer, 1913 to 203. He epitomised everything that is about the spirit of Punt Road, and everyone knows about my feelings about the club. We are only shareholders of a great organisation. There's no doubt about that. Okay, and they also had a night that Tiger roared, and Jack was absolutely in his element, and people from all walks of lives and all generations were in awe of the great man.
Well,
I must tell the story. I don't like telling these stories, but because I was a very fair footballer, I must say that. They wrote a book that Collingwood, Kill for Collingwood. Well, I killed for Richmond. And I was playing that day when Wilson got knocked onto the fence at Melbourne, and I didn't like Melbourne much. And this Dean's the back pocket player. That's right, kill the bludgers, he said, you know, and I heard him. I said, I'll give you a kill. I rushed up the field, you know, right down the centre, and who was coming but Henner, about 6'3", top pace he was, and didn't see me. It was beautiful. Well, he went up in the air, bounced 3 times when he come down. Never moved. And I looked around. I generally ran on, but I looked at him because I was a bit worried. So, because Doc Corden had come along and said, you better put the blanket over him. I said to Doc, is he dead? He said, he looks like it. So they took him off the ground, and I was very worried at half time, and I said to Ray Dunn, I said, I think I've killed him. He said, don't worry, it's only manslaughter.
And of course, Ray Dunn, the then president of Richmond, was a Queen's Counsel, and he was earning big money as a member of the cloth.
He used to embellish that story every time we saw him, but there was a better one than that. We'd had a very successful league team season, and Ron Casey, it wasn't really his want to take you out and look after you too well, but this, after a great season, he took us to the Southern Cross, which in those days was huge, you know.
San Francisco Grill.
Beatles were there, Bob.
It was fantastic. And anyway, Jack and Lou and Ron have got a bit of a skinful, and because I'm a teetotaler, so I'm looking after them. We finish our meal and we go out the front door into Burke Street there and turn into Exhibition, turn left and go down Burke Street a little bit, and a paddy wagon pulls up and a couple of young policemen jump out and they step across the footpath. And the first fella they pick on is Louis, looking a bit dishevelled. And they said, and what's your name? And Louis, quick as a flash, said, Coles. And the fellow said, and what's your initials? He said, GJ. So, I'm smart enough. He looked at me and said, what's your name? And I said, David. He said, what's your Christian name? And I said, Roger. So he looked at the big fella. And Jack looking at him like this, he said, and what's your name? And Jack said, would you believe the Burke Street branch of the Mutual Permanent...
Absolutely fantastic. Now, one of our panel members, when he was a pimply-faced banana bender, coming down to make it in the big smoke, actually was the subject of league teams one night. And Brendan, roll the tape, please, son.
Dunstall always proved you all wrong again, right?
I said he could play, Dunstall.
You did not.
I did.
You all said he couldn't play at all. Up he bobs again.
Yeah.
And Platten, of course, congratulations, son. Congratulations. You're playing Victorian style. And the rucks are Deer Tuck, and he's all right too. Deer Tuck, of course.
Deer Tuck?
Deer Tuck's not having... Deer Tuck's not having a big time, but he's liable to have a big time, and Loveridge went all right. So you've got them all there. Abbott can come on the ground.
That's what Loveridge says to Deer every time he plays. Kick it, pass it over here, love, will you?
Deer.
I've got to say I'm a little bit disappointed, Bob. You've always been nice to me. We've always been very cordial whenever we've run into each other, but you potted me from day one.
I don't know. I think Jack might have taken a lot of bit of liberty. I mean, I had to do that.
Right, jump in. Just 1 minute, Mud. I know you're up the stairs. Get this camera. Get a close-up on this head here. Okay. If you have seen this man, ring Crime Stoppers. All right. Thanks a lot, Dipper.
Yeah, thanks very much. And Bobby, great to see you back in the studio. It's great memories and a sad loss to us all. And, of course, the great E.J. Whitten, you defending him as like all of us. And I know those two together will have a bit of a kick up there. Yeah. Scott mentioned the club. Well, this is from Umbrella.